1754, Vienna. In order to improve the training of doctors and pharmacists, Maria Theresia's personal physician, Gerhard van Swieten, recommends that his empress found a botanical garden. It is a book that will preserve this garden and its messages for all time. The second director of the Vienna Botanical Garden, Nikolaus Joseph von Jacquin, publishes a catalogue of the garden in 3 volumes. Colored prints illustrate the descriptive texts and outshine all comparable works by far. In 1770, the Hortus Botanicus Vindobonensis was published in 162 printed copies as a catalogue of plants from the Viennese garden of Empress Maria Theresia. Starting with the rose on the first page, the tabula prima. Garden director Jacquin inspired many people of his time, including 2 gentlemen from his closest Viennese neighborhood, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Emanuel Schikaneder, to create motifs for the world's most frequently performed opera, the Magic Flute, die Zauberflöte. Jacquin, professor for botany, naturalist, world traveler, and later a witty and entertaining host, gathered a wide variety of personalities from the most diverse social, intellectual, political, and artistic milieus at his table and in his salon. His selection of guests and his mediating manner enhanced the company to mutual benefit. Inspired by the host Jacquin, his guests and their stories of adventures and discoveries in faraway lands, Mozart and Schikaneder's fantasies mature here. Die Zauberflöte is an unrivaled masterpiece of old Viennese magic theater. This opera is nothing less than a fairy tale about love. The scenery of the spectacle, wild forests, nocturnal firmaments, rare plants, exotic landscapes, temples of wisdom, populated by dragons and other dangerous animals, colorful creatures, graceful beauties, and so on. The Jacquin family's garden director's house on Vienna's Rennweg and the botanical garden surrounding it also inspired the inventors of Die Zauberflöte. The opera's cast reflects the current topics of conversation among Viennese people in the late 18th century. Let's take Sarastro, for example. One can recognize in him and his entourage an image of Freemasonry, which was very fashionable at the time. No wonder that the important Viennese Freemason Ignaz von Born is the real-life model for this wise man, Sarastro. At the other end of the Magic Flute's scale of wisdom, Papageno. This rather simple-minded, clumsy fellow turns out, on closer inspection through 18th century glasses, to be a representation of a profession that was not unimportant at the time. The bird catchers provided people in the cities with songbirds for the purpose of acoustic entertainment. But bird catchers were also indispensable helpers on naturalists' expeditions to remote parts of the world at the time. Just as the gardening profession was highly valued in 18th century Vienna, it was the gardeners with their craftsmanship and experience who ensured the care of even the most delicate tropical plants in the temperate climate of European gardens. No wonder that Nikolaus Joseph von Jacquin began his career as a gardener at Schönbrunn Castle. Just 1 year later, in 1754, the emperor sent the then 27-year-old Frenchman, accompanied by an experienced Dutch gardener and 2 Italian bird catchers, on an expedition to the West Indies, better known to most people today as the Caribbean. Jacquin fulfills the expectations set in him in the most excellent way. He provides extensive deliveries of collection objects to Vienna. But Jacquin's house is not only the place where the naturalists' journeys end. Some of them also set off into the world from here. One of the most important travelers from Vienna in those years was the talented Bohemian Thaddäus Xaverius Peregrinus Henke. Henke educated himself in medicine, astronomy and botany, mining and chemistry. His solitary hikes and his daring climbing tours through the Alps impressed many people. Jacquin soon became aware of Henke, got him a job and invited him to his famous Wednesday evening parties. Jacquin persuades Emperor Joseph II to allow Henke to take part in an expedition to the Pacific coast equipped by the Spanish royal family. From there, he sent plans and travel reports to Europe and shared his discoveries with the Jacquins and their circle. And all this at the very time when Mozart and Schikaneder are fabulating about the magical world of die Zauberflöte. Henke's letters contain descriptions of unknown plants as well as observations of medusae and unknown birds. In one report he describes how he overpowers a giant snake in a duel, just as Tamino does right at the beginning of Die Zauberflöte. In general, it can be said that the scenic ideas, the rapid transformations on stage, the strange plants and animals were significantly inspired by the travel descriptions of the travelers in the house of the garden director Nikolaus Joseph von Jacquin, who was himself experienced in the discovery of the world.